When the Nazis were tried for their crimes, not every low-ranking grunt or good German was put on trial. Rather, those at the top were considered the most responsible. But when people are put on trial for the crimes of Bush and Cheney, it is those at the lowest levels who take the fall. If you join the U.S. military as a public soldier or a mercenary, you may someday be prosecuted for war crimes, for having obeyed illegal orders. But those at the top are considered immune. Rumsfeld may face prosecution if he travels too much. Let's hope so. Gonzalez may possibly someday face prosecution, but Bush and Cheney consider themselves and their top collaborators above the law. And as we've heard a number of times already this evening, thanks to Senator Schumer and to California's own Senator Feinstein, whose husband profits from these wars, the Senate will likely approve, as our top law enforcement official, a man who refuses to call torture techniques torture and says that he refuses to call torture techniques torture because torturers might be prosecuted. Right now, Bush was prepared simply to have no attorney general if the Senate rejected this one. And why not? Gonzalez didn't, there was no skill involved. He simply took orders from Bush and Cheney. So there was always a little bit something ludicrous about impeaching Gonzalez. And after all, why shouldn't Bush do without an attorney general? The American people have gone quite a while doing without any representatives in Congress. So this year is the year of the living dead in Washington, and it's going to be 2 years if we don't do something. The Democratic Congress took power in January with the intention of keeping Bush and Cheney and the occupation of Iraq around for 2 years so that they could run in the next elections in opposition to the same things that they had just been elected to deal with. So the Democrats faced a dilemma. How do you keep a war and a criminal administration around while appearing to oppose them for 2 years? Well, you do it by introducing bills. And the fight for those doomed bills becomes an electoral campaign of 2 years financed by the American public. And of course, you know from the start that any decent bill on any issue, especially Iraq, will be vetoed if not filibustered. But if you sell the idea hard enough that you simply must have a bill, then what you can do is watch the good bills fail and then introduce bad bills and watch them be signed into law. But what we have actually known since last November was that there would be only 2 useful things this Congress could do, although it could do many more after having done those 2. And neither one of them involves passing a bill. The first thing is to announce that there will be no more bills to fund the occupation of Iraq. Another good radio show, Ed Schultz's radio show, this week interviewed Harry Reid and asked him, Senator Reid, why don't you just announce that you won't bring up any more bills to the floor of the Senate to fund this occupation? And Harry Reid did not have an answer, and he sounded, honest to God, as if it had never occurred to him to consider this idea. Right? He admitted he could do it, but he wouldn't do it.